Hey Fithead, Surgeon here with another Cigar Federation video review. Today reviewing the AJ Fernandez Last Call Maduro. Now we've already done a review of the Last Call. We did a group review last year, so you can check that out. This is the Maduro. So if you missed that review, quick hits about what the Last Call is. Essentially it's a personal blend slash experimental blend from AJ Fernandez. So this kind of started out as an in-house cigar that he was blending just for himself. He'd give that out as a gift if you were at his place, if you were checking out football, if you're, out over for drinks, whatever. Kind of the last call, last cigar of the night before you left. Politely, hopefully. The Maduro version has Pennsylvania broadleaf Maduro wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler. It's the GNLS size, which is a Rothschild. It's a 4.5 by 48 ring gauge, and very affordable MSRP of $5. So very, very approachable. I love cigars from AJ Fernandez. I'm excited to try this out. So we'll get right into it here. Talking about the nose, a lot of spicy cedar. It's got a little bit of sweetness underneath it, but it's exactly what I would expect out of like a spicy Spanish cedar. Not much else there. The foot's going to be a little tough because you can see it's got that closed foot there. Always difficult to tell anything from the closed foot because really all you're going to be smelling is wrapper. And yeah, sure enough, that's really no difference there on the foot than on the wrapper. So we're going to get cracking here. If you want to check out my lighting and cutting method, you can check out the channel video, Why I Light Before I Cut. That'll give you a detailed explanation. Let's hop right into it. Nice little bit of spices up front, quite subdued. Lots of leather post-draw, a little bit of chocolatey, like powdered cocoa on the retrohale. A lot more intense on the retrohale. Get a lot of sweetness there that I wasn't picking up on the regular draw. Leather's there, but the spices and the sweetness are kind of pushing the leather aside more on the retrohale. Quite enjoyable. Draw is perfect. It's got actually a little bit of snugness to it, so there's a little bit of resistance, which is good when you're smoking a 48 ring gauge. When you're smoking a smaller than Robusto ring gauge, you got to be really careful about your draw. You really don't want that cigar burning hot, and there is a risk of that with a smaller ring gauge, so you do have to slow down. The fact that there is a bit of a snugness in the draw is good because that is going to force you to slow down. So we'll check back in as the first third settles in. So with the smaller ring gauge, this cigar is smoking quite quick. I'm going to have to slow down a little bit. I am about half, 3/4 of an inch in already, and we're only just at the 10-minute mark here. There is a citrusy component, a sweet citrusy component coming in now, and it's serving as a great counterbalance to that leather, which I'm assuming that leather is coming off the Pennsylvania broadleaf Maduro wrapper. Very enjoyable though. I find that the flavors now have kind of settled in. There's always that race at the beginning of a cigar where some flavors are kind of trying to dominate the profile. And what I like about the cigar settling in is that those flavors have a chance to sort of work together in concert. There's a wonderful aroma coming off of this, and I don't know if that's from the filler or from the wrapper, but the aroma off this cigar is fantastic. I'm definitely getting a lot of that leather post-draw. I wouldn't say dominating my profile, but you definitely know it's there. This is probably a cigar I would want to pair because I'm not a big fan of leather post-draw, but so far so good. And at the $5 price point, this is an absurdly affordable cigar. Coming up on the 20-minute mark here. I'd say about 3/4 of the way through the first third already, so smoking quite quickly. I am forcing myself to slow down. You can see the ash on that is extremely white. I don't know if that matters to you. I know a lot of people judge the cigars based on the color of the ash, but it's holding on nicely. Flavors are excellent. I am getting, again, that citrusy component in there. It is dialed down a little bit in intensity now as the first third is kind of moving towards the middle third. But it is serving as a great anchor point or counterpoint to that leather. On the retrohale, wonderful chocolate, nougaty, cocoa. Leather's actually almost completely gone from the retrohale. Spices have really fallen down significantly. They're just kind of a background note now. Very tasty. 35-minute mark here in the Last Call Maduro. Citrus component is really starting to fall off in intensity. It's still there, adding a lot of sweetness and just that nice zing of citrus to the flavor profile, which kind of serves to recharge your palate between draws. Cocoa's fallen to a light plus. The spices are all but gone. Leather's all but gone. A lot more nuanced here in the middle third, less in your face than the first third. Checking out the retrohale. Citrus is still very strong in the retrohale. Really the prominent note now, taking over that profile almost entirely. It's kind of got a grapefruit quality to it rather than an orange quality to it. And by that I just mean it immediately evokes that sweetness from grapefruit without that sour component, which is quite mild. So at a 35-minute mark at the halfway, probably only looking at about an hour 15, an hour 20 for smoking time, but check back in if there's any other flavor changes in the middle third. Hitting the 45-minute mark here on the last call Maduro. Wonderful chocolate is back. Definitely back on the regular draw. It's kind of taking over, almost being handed a baton from the citrus. It's got a really nice powdered cocoa flavor to it, and it lingers in the post draw, so it's nice. You get a lot of that chocolate after the draw is finished. On the retrohale here, citrus is still hanging on to the retrohale, so you kind of get really like grapefruit meets chocolate combination. It's nice, especially since the that grapefruit citrus in the retrohale is really falling off in intensity as well. It's very, very enjoyable. So probably have another maybe 10 minutes here in the middle third. We'll start talking about the last third and the flavors that are present. Into the last third here, just passing the hour mark. There's a nice sweetness that's built up. Chocolate's kind of fading to a background note here, so I'm still getting a little bit of it, but very much a background note. A little bit of earthiness coming through, very subtle, very nuanced, and the spiciness is kind of coming back in the form of black pepper. And I'm really only getting that at the end of the draw, so really as the draw finishes, and then post-draw, so get a lot of that black pepper post-draw. It's really like a ground black peppercorn. Not overly intense, just a nice post-draw flavor. On the retrohale here, sweetness is much more prominent on the retrohale. Spices are there, so get that initial sweetness. Finishes with this with the pepper. Quite tasty. Always a big fan of a cigar that finishes strong. So first third, intense. The flavors were a lot more prominent. Middle third, quite subtle. Flavors are moving back towards the intense level here in the last third. Wrapping up the review of the AJ Fernandez Last Call Maduro. Wow, great cigar. Taking the price point not even in consideration, great cigar. Flavor profile is fantastic. It's complex. It's great right down to the nub. Then you throw in the price point of $5 MSRP. This is a no-brainer, especially if you like AJ Fernandez stuff. I think you're going to be running out to your local B&M to pick these up. I know these are going to be on my buying list this year as I travel down to the US. I think they're available up in Canada now, so they're everywhere. Very excited to see what AJ has in store at the IPCPR in Las Vegas this year. Thanks for checking out the video review of the AJ Fernandez Last Call Maduro. Make sure to check out the written review at cigarfederation.com, and you can always drop me a line, surgeon at Cigar Federation, or you can drop us a note on our YouTube channel. Thanks for checking it out. We'll be back next week.